I mean, we can even include this in.
Well,
Hey
I was
guys.
just looking at the perfect horizon. Look how beautiful that blue line is.
I know the weather wasn't even good this morning.
It was raining when I got out.
Kind of made me realise how much the weather's been lifting me up this morning.
Yeah, I had a bit of. I don't
Yeah.
want to. I don't want to go
I
back
was
out
kind of
today.
more like thinking, what do you do in winter to like have that same feeling that you have in summer? Like the log burner is definitely one. Like when we move into the new house, I'm
That
gonna
kept
get
us.
gonna
Kept
get a
us.
log burner straight away.
Yeah, man. That kept us going last winter. But your wood costs go up.
I think the wood costs
suddenly,
go up, yeah, but
suddenly
it's an
it's a.
investment.
Yeah.
But the kids, I think having we'll have the patio doors and the kids will be able to go straight out. So like even in crappy weather, we can just
Yeah.
put the suit on and they can just go. But
That's all it is.
anyway, so first podcast.
Yeah. Why we
Why are we
doing
doing
it?
this? Well, I think it's because we see so many people struggling, right? So many people busy at work, stressed, trying to figure out the family stuff, trying to stay healthy, do the things they love,
Mm-hmm.
stay happy, fulfilled. And all the content we put out at the moment is, people's attention span is a few seconds long. And
Yeah, man.
this is about going a bit deeper into those topics.
And if you think about it, it's kind of why you started the company, right? And this is an evolution into exploring it a bit further,
Yeah.
right? And I've never run a podcast. Have you?
You've never done one?
I've been on one. I've been on a couple. I never run one. Have you
Yeah.
run one?
Yeah. So we had one for So We Flow, which was my old company,
The clothing company.
which you actually found out that I ran
That's so
like a
random.
few months ago, right?
I was actually I when I ran the surf shop in Sri Lanka, it's like surf yoga, activewear kind of shop, and we were trying to find good trousers for men. And I remember finding your stuff, and I probably reached out to you. I feel like I did. We couldn't find that email, could we? But and then I found out now
No.
it's you.
I vaguely recall it happening.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we did have a podcast. It was more like an interview style. It was very budget,
Mm.
kind of similar to the way we're starting this,
I
right?
mean,
We've got we've
yeah.
got the mics are good.
These work.
The phone does the job.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just interviewing like different movers. It was called Why We Move.
Nice.
And it was basically, yeah, finding out like how they got into what they were doing, like why
Mm.
they keep doing it, which is a kind of nice little link to
I
what
mean,
I
man.
now do with Vibrant People.
Yeah, and I just love. I love the best part of my working week is when we just go for a walk and chat shit,
Yeah.
and this amazing stuff comes out of it, right? And kind of where it started the week, wasn't it? We were like, we should record this, and then here we are, man. So
Well, yeah, because when Joe's our head coach, by the way, I'm the founder of Vibrant People. And yeah, we go on our little walks, we're working through client issues, like solving problems. And obviously, the direct actionable stuff we give the client, we go a lot deeper than that, right?
yeah,
And we kind of spitball with lots of ideas, and we realized, whoa, this stuff is going to be super valuable for people. So if we just get that recorded, we set aside some time, like let's put it out there
mm.
and see what happens.
I think it's interesting. Hey, like we've never done this. Like I reflect on, we tell our clients, oh, we can make time for stuff. And you asked me a few weeks back, like we got to carve out an hour or so for podcasts. I'm like, no, I've got stuff on a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday morning here, but because it felt important, we made it happen.
Mm,
And then that's meant, I mean, actually, to be fair, yesterday I was going to say I prepped for today. We went for a surf yesterday,
we did.
which was awesome. Thanks for that.
And you haven't been for a surf for a long time, right?
Dude, I surfed in September. So I've gone from surfing twice a day when I lived in Sri Lanka to 3 times in 6 months.
Mm.
So it was beautiful, but man, I was pretty pooped last night.
Yeah, man.
How are
And
you
I
feeling?
think that's like an interesting thread to go down because I hadn't surfed for a while either, and then went to Portugal at the weekend, and it was a perspective shift, right?
Mm,
And I think that's what we find with clients as well, right? We're our own worst enemies.
yeah.
Like we are the ones putting the blocker in the way. It's not an external circumstance. Like we are mentally doing it to ourselves. And I'd convinced myself that like I couldn't go surfing. I did not have the time. Everything else was a priority. and it was just not possible in my current life.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll start at doing it again soon.
yeah.
And I'd even got into the habit of telling people, "Oh, I retired from surfing when I had kids," and that's not even true because I've been surfing loads last year, and
Mm,
like there's been sporadic bursts. But came back from that trip, like Andy and Sasha got Aaron, who's a young guy, just over a year, and they take him down to the beach on a
mm,
work day.
mm.
Both get like a quick 30 minutes in the water, and then they get on with the day, right? And
Do you think it's interesting? Hey, do you think it was like seeing other parents do it that's kind of re-sparked your froth, or do you think it was like the feeling of doing it, of
of
being
being
in
in
the
the water,
water? Like yesterday, you were like, "Oh, my soul is clean." Like,
yeah,
was
yeah,
it the
yeah.
feeling, or was it the action you saw that made you?
I think a bit of both, right?
Mm,
Like we talk a lot about feeling fulfilled
yeah.
and being present and being grateful for the things that are around you, right? And making the most of them, being proactive, like seizing life by the horns, right? Because
Mm,
wherever you live, whatever your circumstances, like however successful you are in your job, if you aren't going out there and actually like living your life, being present,
mm,
like doing the things you love, then
mm,
it's going to suck, right? It doesn't matter. None of that monetary stuff or whatever matters. So I think for me, it was a like doing it and being like,
mm,
wow, this is something I absolutely love. And I know this deep down, but I just haven't been making the time for it. I've been telling myself I'll find the time, but I
mm,
haven't been making the time. And then the second piece is seeing a couple that's got a young baby, both got very demanding careers, making the time for it, but doing it in a way that's not, it's not like high stress, like
mm,
rushed. It's very calm, very controlled, just like built into their routine, and it just like flows supernatural.
mm.
Um,
Well, I'm curious to explore this because I'm always thinking about it and I'm always talking about it. But when I really stop and I'm not, and I'm just chatting with you, it's going, okay, we've all got the same, 24 hours in the day and we sleep for 7 or 8 of them.
mhm.
You know, my life was running like this last week. Now I'm surfing for an hour plus the drive, 2 hours. What did I sacrifice or what did I give up? What have I changed? And what am I, I've replaced it with surfing. Where'd those
Mhm.
2 hours go that I was doing something else?
Yeah,
You know?
I think that's a difficult thing as well. For me, I've always said that like doing my strength training, doing my mobility, like that is the priority because
Mm,
that's kind of the lifeblood.
yeah.
So the narrative I'd told myself was that if those things were getting sacrificed at the expense of the surf, then
Right.
I wouldn't do the surf.
So you had a priority list.
Kind of, yeah.
Surf
They
was
were
like
my
two or three.
non-negotiables. And then obviously work as well. Like everyone knows it with work, right? The saying like don't be a busy fool.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a busy fool like every day,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Like let's say the average person works like 8 hours a day, maybe 8 hours, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
How many of those hours are actually productive?
Right on.
So Parkinson's law, work fills work fills the time that you give it or the time that's allocated for the work, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you give yourself an hour for a task or give yourself 4 hours, like it'll take that amount of time to get it done. And I think I was convincing myself that there was like always more work to be done, which there is. There's a never ending to-do list, but working an extra hour, an extra 2 hours really isn't going to make much difference
Mm,
unless it's like a seriously urgent, like priority
yeah,
task.
man.
So the thing for me was A, realizing like the work can wait, like
Mm,
there's other opportunities. Like I got up at 4:30 this morning, did some essential work, like it was cool, made sure I went to bed on time. The other thing is going, and the funny thing is, I did a workshop on this yesterday in the community
oh, yeah, yeah.
on adapting your workouts. And one of
Mm,
the points was if an opportunity comes up, like going for a surf or going for a run on the beach or playing some tennis with a friend, like whatever it is,
yeah,
like
bro.
seize the opportunity, like pushing a workout back a week or doing one less
Yeah.
because you're swapping it with something like super
Fulfilling.
wholesome and
Yeah.
fulfilling and good for you.
Right.
That is not a negative.
Well, it's that classic, hey, when you're on your deathbed, you can go, I'm glad I put a couple hours extra on that spreadsheet. Or I went for a surf with my buddy in this beautiful day when the seals found. Like, what are you going to remember?
Yeah. And
Right.
you could even say that about your normal everyday workouts, right? Like the
100%.
systems that we give to our clients, they're not meant to be the thing that you do like non-negotiable every single day in the sense of that if you switch it for something better or something alternative, it's going to
Right.
hold you back.
Right.
That's supposed to be your like pulse
Yeah.
that's like underneath every single thing. But
Yeah.
the thing like going for a surf or like doing something that's a bit more like opportunistic,
Right.
that's not going to come up all the time. And you're right, it's the thing that makes the difference, thing that makes life interesting. Those baseline habits, like they're always going to be there waiting for you.
Mm.
And you know, we're going deep now, but the week is just it's a construct in our minds, right? Like nothing happens when we start again on a Monday. If you haven't done 4 workouts in that week, like it doesn't matter. We need to look at the month, the
Yeah.
year, the 10 years
Yeah.
of consistency that makes the difference.
Well, and that's so interesting. Hey, about the stories, right? I talk about that of our meta programming or societal programming of being busy.
Mm,
You're successful if you are busy. If you are busy, you will be successful. You must work these hours, these days, these times, Monday to Friday, all of that. That's how I was taught, I suppose, through my growing up, through school. Then you get a job, and it's like, bam, 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 work hard. You staying late? You're, oh God, we're leaving early. That kind of mentality. I think that's shifting in society. Like more people are working remotely, but there is still this thing that I've been told for so long that it's in. And it's really hard. Like when I started working with you a few months ago, I had to shift. My previous like full-time job was in an ad agency. And they were like, now, 8 o'clock go, full on power, lots of this. So when I started working with you, I had to like, and I knew it wasn't going to be this way. I had to like mentally shift into like, oh, I can just, as long as this gets done, it doesn't matter. And for me, I get like a nice, yeah, early mornings, kids are in bed. I do a little power hour. That 1 power hour, I'm like, I'm turning this computer off at 8:30, 9 o'clock. And that's hard stop.
hmm
Means I'm not faffing. Whereas I sit at the desk all day, I'll be on social media, I'll start shopping, I'll watch a little YouTube clip. Completely pointless. And how many people are doing that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet the world is still operating on this like 9 to 5 mentality. And it's just not productive, man.
No. And the people, when they say join vibrant people, like whenever you ask them, like, oh, you're so busy, like, where are you going to find the time for this? They already know that much time they are wasting, right?
Yeah.
Being procrastinating, like being on their phone, like
Mm-hmm.
just sat at their screen but not actually doing anything. So they find it pretty easy to find that time
Mm.
or make that time.
Mm-hmm.
They already know where it is. So it's really learning to like utilize that.
Well, that's interesting. Hey, and it's made me think because I've had a few check-ins with clients recently who've had to like shift their sort of 8 till 7 p.m. working day. So because they've also got children to make times for these workouts. And they've almost been embarrassed to come in a bit late, 9:30, because they wanted to get their workout done. People would kind of like, oh, what are you up to? And when he's telling them, oh, I've hit my workout, I've done a 30-minute, I've done 45 minutes of workout this morning, they're like, you missed a bit of work, mate.
Mm.
And it's like we societally like prioritize or celebrate being mindlessly busy over looking after yourself, even spending time with family or like going for a surf.
Mm.
Even yesterday, I felt guilty to who I don't even know that I was out surfing for 2 hours when I should be at work.
Yeah,
So
100%.
interesting, right? Where does that come from?
I think it's living in Cornwall is interesting for that as well, because generally the mindset is it's a bit more chilled in that
Yeah,
regard, moving from the city, right?
yeah,
Where it's very intense. People not just turning up for the hours, but actually going like
yeah,
far and beyond, like
yeah.
12-hour days, 13-hour days,
Mm-hmm.
not even their own business, like doing it for someone else and potentially not even getting paid for that extra time.
No lunch breaks. That
No
kind,
lunch
yeah.
breaks. Whereas down here, sometimes like we're in a co-working space, like sometimes yesterday no one else was in here from 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was
Amazing,
the only person in here for 2.5 hours until it shut, right?
amazing.
Like whatever reason that is, there's people working in the studios, but like in the actual co-working space it was empty.
Mm.
And one thing we've talked about, which we're kind of going down some crazy tangents here, but
Yeah, I love it.
one thing we've talked about is where's that line between like putting in the work and doing the thing and being proactive and like pushing towards your goals versus actually being lazy and like not working towards your goals.
Mm.
And it's like you can not work more and not put pressure on yourself as like a positive thing to then switch that for like more fulfilling activities, more presence with your family, like go surfing, like
Mm-hmm.
spend some downtime, like
Have a
whatever
nap.
it is. But you can also do that and be like, I'm lazy. I'm going to blame the rest of the world for my problems.
Right.
I'm not going to put in the work. And
Right.
I've always struggled. I think the thing that always pushed me to maybe go a bit further and put a bit more pressure on myself is the fear that I would become that person that's not actually taking ownership for my own life and doing the work to get to where I want to be.
So my question, this is always so funny when we hang out, right? Because we veer towards like end up coaching each other sometimes. So my question, Matt, is like, is there anyone been in your life that has been that person who veered off to being lazy that you're worried about becoming? Like you said, oh,
Well, you
you know,
have to be
that's
careful when you're saying stuff like this. But
yeah, yeah.
I don't think anyone personally, but
Right. Okay.
you see it all around you, man.
Oh, I hear you. No, it's just interesting. Hey, because we often get like those feelings are often like someone close in our life, family, friend, a teacher, a good mate who's gone. Like those things can
Yeah,
influence us, right?
I wouldn't say it's anyone personal close to me. In
Yeah.
fact, a lot of my friendship group they're a crazy successful group of people,
Yeah.
like crazy. Most of them working like in the system, like doing long hours,
Mm-hmm.
very successful in that realm.
Mm-hmm.
A few freelancers in there as well, but still like really pushing themselves, like really
Nice.
putting in serious time.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side of things, I think it's more just what I see around us, right? And
Yeah.
everyone, there's like almost like a stereotype of England that we're like always complaining,
Yeah.
and I think there's all sorts of explanations for that. There's like the weather thing, like
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But I think part of it is also like there is a big issue, in my opinion, of people like wanting to blame everything else
Right.
versus like just going like, right, I'm going to take ownership of this. Like
There
this
you
is
go,
my
man.
life, and I am the one that has to take the action to create the change. So
Yeah,
it's
bro.
like go to the gym or people on the machine like whining about stuff that they could actually change themselves, and it's blaming someone else. So that's
Yeah, I love it.
my fear, is me becoming
That
getting
person.
pulled into that as
So
well.
seeing it around, because that's not, you're not that guy. Like when we hang out, we're like, do shit. But it's true. I feel you, man. And we touched on this the other day, didn't we, about like the news and people who are watching the news, and people can get obsessed with things they can't control.
Hmm.
And then that becomes their inner narrative. Oh, war's gnarly. Let's not go off on politics here, but I can't stop what's going on over there. So, but I'm going to get so mad, so frustrated with the people that are doing that thing that I become frozen
Mm.
and angry. Not even fight or flight. You're just stuck.
Yeah.
And then you're not doing shit. And then that affects your personal life. I'm in that job. Well, if the boss is an idiot and my relationship, oh, she treats me like this. Come on, man. You
Yeah.
know, like you've seen it in, for those of you guys who don't know, Jake and I met at a men's group at Dad's Walking Club. And we see that in that space often. There's a lot of like blame. And until we can get pulled up on it, sometimes by someone else.
Hmm. Often, ever, always.
Always, right? We don't want to do it ourselves. And we can't get, from me, I'll speak from me, I can't get pulled up on it by my wife or any, like in my close knit. It has to be sort of a stranger
Hmm.
slash acquaintance that goes boom. And I've kind of lost my thread there, but that's the piece of like ownership. Like I have to own my shit. I can't control all of you guys. And that's what we're doing with this program, right?
Yeah.
It's like whatever's going on outside, people laugh at you because you're trying to eat less at the barbecue or you're skipping work to do workout. Cool. Let them laugh, right?
Mm.
Because you are going to come back in a place where you're strong, you own your day, and you can get stuff done.
Yeah, man,
I don't know where
100%.
we went with that one.
Well, maybe that's like the thread that we go down for today. Like that was our extended intro,
Right? Yeah.
and then yeah, we're good. We'll just go for the hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking maybe talking about what does it actually take to go from feeling like your life is so jam-packed and busy and there isn't any time to actually starting to make the time
Mm.
for yourself, and like what that looks like, what that process is like, and what that ends up feeling like.
Mm.
And for not all of you know this, but I'm expecting another child soon,
How many is that?
3.
Yep.
And obviously that's going to add a massive complication into my life in terms of time. So I'm going to be experiencing that as well. And we can maybe talk about what
Yeah.
what strategies I've got in mind for when that time comes. Not that
Well,
I'm planning ahead.
yeah.
I'm not.
My question though is to me, to you, to any parent out there, can you imagine the time before your children? And I know I felt busy then. Oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm stressed. I'm this. And now I've got two, both under 4 years old. You've got 2.5. Still working out, still playing, seeing some friends, still sleeping, eating.
Yeah.
Whoa. Did you consciously shift your life, or did it just happen? Oh, baby's here, got to adjust. Or did you put some planning into it? Like, cast your mind back to Axel's arrival,
Yeah.
pre-Axel, 1 month
Well,
before.
just to reverse a little bit, like
Yeah.
thinking back, me and Morgan talked a lot about this a lot, and I can barely remember what it was like not to have a kid. Like
Yeah.
how the hell did I use those hours in a day? It's like absolutely crazy. And then I even think that about people with one kid now. I'm like, man, you have so much time.
Enjoy it, bro.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
so much time. And there's
Yeah.
probably people with three kids going, Jake, like, you
Yeah.
have so much time.
Right.
But I think the number one thing is the big shift for me was my, I don't want to say maybe like the appreciation of time or like the utilization of time. Like you just so much time. You don't have time to waste time when you have kids
Mm.
and a business
Mm.
and two kids and three kids. Like,
Got 1 hour. What are you going to do?
yeah,
Yeah.
you have to,
Yeah.
you can't mess around with your time. And that doesn't mean that it has to be like, oh, it's like 101, like I need to do this. But it's like you need to be super assertive and proactive with the time if you care about how that time's used. If you want that time to just drift away, then go about how you were doing things before, because the chances are if you were still working out before kids and like you had a good routine, there was a lot of wasted time and energy that packed
Mm.
around that because you had it to utilize.
Mm.
When you have kids, like that's fluff time goes straight away. You can still
Yeah.
do the workout thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that's probably what we'll start talking about soon. You can still fit it in, but you don't have that
Mm.
that like borderline. What would you call it? Like a
Buffer.
buffer
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
It what's coming up for me is like intentional and intention, like, and that comes across everything that we speak about and teach and lead in this program. It's like, am I being intentional with this time?
Hmm.
Am I being intentional with my decision at work? Am I being intentional with my food choice? Am I being intentional of how I'm going to spend the weekend, knowing that I've got less time because the kids are home? It's intention, and that intention requires thought and some pre-planning, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I think thinking back to things I heard from fathers before my daughter was born, 4 and a bit years ago, was get a routine going now. Whether if that's surfing, at that time I was surfing a lot and working out a lot. I was training jujitsu and Muay Thai and surfing and working out. And they were like, "Well, you might have to drop one of those, but make sure." It's like this thing about prioritizing myself as a father,
Hmm.
because I say this all the time in the men's circles we run. Like, we can't pour from an empty cup. If I'm exhausted, don't have energy, feeling a bit flabby, eating shit, I cannot look after my family. And
Yeah.
when I say look after, I don't mean like put them in bed and make the tea. I'm like, show up, right? As we talk about this, you can be there, but are you present? And so I guess there's some advice if anyone out there is waiting to be a parent. I know we got some guys in the program that are due soon or have just had a baby.
Or they even join because they're preempting the idea
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
will become dads
They
at some
want
point,
to be a
which is pretty
father.
cool. I don't know what they've been exposed to make them think they need to sort it
I
out.
wish I thought like that, man. Like, that is, yeah, acknowledging those men and acknowledging the men that come to some of our circles that are like, I'm having a baby soon. I need to hear from some dads. So yeah, like there is a piece of it's intentions, coming back to that. What kind of father, man, woman, mother do I want to be?
Hmm.
Don't just like stumble into it, like, oh, I've got a baby. Right. When am I working out? It's gonna be way harder. It's like we talk about even in our program. There's flexibility, and yeah,
Hmm.
we said earlier about on Monday is just a thing, but let's pretend it's real. Um, what am I doing next week? What's it looking like?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got that business trip. Oh, I know my wife's away, so I got the okay. What am I going to do with that? Just like spend 5 minutes thinking ahead.
Mm.
And I don't know if we do that in society, in the world.
No.
And I know some of the guys that join are a bit like, oh crap. I mean, they've got here, so they want to do it, but they haven't necessarily always thought about how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We aren't magic. Sometimes they're like, can you tell me when to work out? And I'm like, nope.
Yeah. You need to
I
find
can
that
talk
yourself.
to me
What
about your
create that
day, and
yourself.
I could. So it's ownership and tension that are so important and missing.
Yeah. And what's
You
it
know?
so interesting here is like we haven't talked anything about the specifics of like, oh, this is how you should work out. This is what you should eat. Those things. There's a million ways to go about that, and we have our own beliefs and our own
Yeah,
systems, but the mindset and getting the perspective right and reclaiming your time and
yeah,
figuring out how to like get all of that organized and on point, that is actually the key.
yeah,
Like it's all the mindset shifts because
yeah,
that's probably the main reason that people actually fail programs, right? We can talk about them being extreme, unsustainable, like whatever the reasons, like they are obviously working against you. But I think the main thing is that people go into it without actually changing the way that they think about things first.
right.
If you change how you think,
Yeah,
then the actions are going to be much easier. And even if you change how you think and go into something extreme, which
mm,
we don't recommend, but if
mm,
you were to,
mm,
you could probably actually prolong that for much longer
right.
because the mind is in the right place.
I mean, we break that down to that.
Keep talking.
You're
I
good.
just want to check if this is filming. I just had like a horror thought that it's not,
That it just paused.
but let's have a look. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is episode 1, so we're still working our tech out. So
Yeah, which
Jake,
is an iPhone.
which
So
is an iPhone balanced on a laptop over here.
yeah,
Um, well, that's all right because it broke a thought. But I had a thought, and the thought was, what did you just say?
we were talking about making that time,
Mm.
getting the mindset right
Yeah, the
first.
mindset, right? Okay, so yeah, that mindset piece. Hey, just a little anecdotally, we know what it's like. I don't know. I've got to look after both kids for an hour when my
Hmm.
wife's got something on. And I know I used to do this. I used to do it when I had one kid. I'm like, oh God, I've got to do. I'm supposed to be doing this thing, or I wish I was out surfing, or whatever it was. It was awful. She felt that, right? She knew she was chetchy. She'd get snappy. I'd get snappy. It was awful. Where I'm like, okay, I know at 4 p.m. I'm going to look after my daughter because my wife's teaching yoga.
Hmm.
Cool. I've done my things, put my phone away. I'm playing Lego and it's great, right? And it's the same with workouts. It's the same with our nutrition. And that was something else that came up for me as we were talking there, as you said something about that. We aren't gurus, right? We don't know any better than we haven't invented workouts. We haven't invented nutrition plans. We've learned, taken things over the years of what's worked for us and adapting them into a thing that is as a baseline. Like our long-term vision for our clients is to go, maybe I was eating some junk food and I didn't have a good routine, but over this 6 months that you're with us and longer, your routines get set up, then you can do whatever you want. We want you to do that because you have to own it. If you're listening to me or you, it's going to work for a minute,
But the
but
second you stop listening, then it's over, right?
yeah. So that's part of our this mindset thing is like, how am I going to take what I've learned from Joe and Jake to my life so I can show my partner and my kids and my friends. Like
Mm.
that'd be beautiful. Yeah, we want you to stay in our program, but also just great.
Yeah,
We've won.
exactly.
If you're like, I don't need you. I just want to check in once a month. Cool. Join our back end or something, but go and do your thing
Mm.
and adapt it, right?
And I've said this many times to clients, and I think it's almost like an ethos within the business is the saying, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime.
Mm,
And that brings us nicely on to like why people are actually doing this, right? Fitness, that's just the key. It's the gateway. It's the catalyst. No guy that joins our program is saying, like, on the surface, he might be like, oh, I want to lose some weight. I want to build some muscle. But the why for that is I want to be an amazing dad.
yeah,
I don't want to decline like my dad did. I want to be around when I'm older.
yeah.
I want to do the things I love. Right. It's got
Mm,
nothing to do
mm,
with actual fitness itself.
yeah.
Fitness is just that catalyst to allow you to have the energy, the confidence, the presence to go out and then do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think of it on that scale and you just take a step back, the intricacies of how you do it start to become pretty obsolete,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like we provide a system that helps you get the result,
Mm,
but if you want to start exploring that and changing it up, then like we don't care,
Yeah.
right? We want you to do that, but it's
It's
just giving you that blood, that like pulse
yeah.
to keep going. It's your non-negotiable, like your baseline.
Yeah.
And that's something we talk a lot about in the program, is that we're not necessarily raising the ceiling, we're raising the floor, right?
There you
Because
go.
a ceiling is intensity.
Mm.
It can't be sustained often, but
Mm.
raising the floor is
Mm.
just, that's going to keep you going through the
That's your
shittiest, worst
baseline.
days ever, right? And if someone gives you a system that you can only sustain on your best days, which is, to be frank, most things that are in the bookshop, most things that you see on the internet on ads, like
Mm-hmm.
most insanity, like
Yeah. Yeah.
P90X, like all that crap,
Yeah.
that's raising the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's not going
So
to
it's
last.
sustainable.
It's for your best days.
Yeah.
The success is about raising the floor.
Yeah.
The fittest people in the world, they're not training for 3 hours a day, like only eating chicken breast out of a Tupperware box, right? They're just living like keeping that baseline
Yeah, man.
alive most of the time.
Yep. And it's what's coming up for me about this as we talk about mindset and the physical. You know, in my work before I was working with you, like working mainly with men in the kind of mindset world, and then loads of my friends who are kind of psychotherapists or counselors, who they have people coming in, men and women, who are maybe having some mental issues, mental health issues, depression, anxiety, that kind of stuff. Do you know one of the first things they get them to do is go out in nature, get a walk in every day, do some exercise, right? They're not saying, okay, we need to go deep into shifting your mind. It's like, first of all, we have to get our bodies moving to feel good. Like, we know if we sat here for the next 2 hours, we'll both be like, we need to get outside. So the first stage, so as you say, like people don't join our program going, I need to shift my whole life. The easy access point is movement. I understand that. I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 on the next day. Good, I can do that. But what starts, and whether people know it or not, and they sometimes do when we do our check-ins, right, or our onboarding, we're like, just push that a bit deeper. And what becomes apparent over 3, 6 months is, oh my God, my approach to my life, my the way I'm handling conflict has shifted because I feel better.
Yeah.
And so then the stage 2 is, okay, well, let's help support you with the tools to do that. You know there's a shift happening. You feel that shift in your body. Again, it comes back to feeling, right? If I feel good, I feel like I've energy, I sit up like this. If I'm like feeling bad, I'm like this. And then I'm like slumping and I'm getting a bit, I can't like act from here. So yeah, so it's moving into that second part, which is more like esoteric, right? But we can't do it if you're in a slumpy, closed off space.
It's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Which I'm not going to, don't quote me on this, but I think it's something like water, food, shelter, and then there's
Community,
community, sex. Like, I
yeah.
don't know, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
up that triangle, right?
Yeah.
And when we're trying to get in a good mindset, like live the life we want to live, if our physical health, like we feel like crap, we have no energy, we don't like ourselves, like we don't feel motivated, we don't feel energetic, that's your base of your pyramid, right? And there's the whole thing, people use this as a metaphor all the time, but you're on an aeroplane, it's like, if the oxygen mask come down, like put your mask on first before you can help someone else, because if you don't,
100%.
you're going to pass out, right? And you're not going to be able to help that person. And
Right.
I think one of the traps that people fall in is that idea of like, I'm prioritizing my work and my family because, well, for whatever deep reason, I don't matter. Like we can get into that, but
Yeah.
the longer you do that and the more you degrade and self-sacrifice, the less you'll be able to actually perform at work, be a great leader,
Yeah.
like scale to whatever heights you want to do with your business, be a great partner, like be present with your kids. And that is probably why the family dynamic like breaks down so often, because people aren't actually doing the self-care, looking after themselves first in order to go and be that person. Because who wants to, kids are difficult, right? Like who wants to go and like play with like noisy kids if you've got no energy, like
Fried.
you've got work going on in your head, like you're not sorting yourself out first. But if you can come into that feeling like super grounded and great and full of energy and confidence, you can go into any situation, whether it's your partner, work, like kids, and just like give it your all. And that's what we hear from clients all the time, right?
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't realize that this would be the impact.
Right. Yeah. And it's so interesting, man, because the other piece in there, and I sort of threw in that community comment, there is a piece of that, right? When we're alone and we're just, doing all the things, burning out, candle at both ends, not looking after ourselves, just providing, protecting, working, da, 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 da. And then we're holding all this stuff. If we are going on a right turn or a left turn here, but if you look back in our ancestors, even our like grandparents' generations, the families were together, the village was together. You hear a lot about this. The aunties, the uncles, the men worked together, the women were at home, the mums supported one another. So there was a bigger network. Now it's mum left typically, we're seeing less and less actually. Mum at home with the kids, dad's off at work. And then dad gets home, he's tired, but he's supposed to show up and be kind and present with his kids. Mum's fried, she's had 8 hours with the kids or dropped them off at school, da la 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 la. So the community's missing. And so now we're having to, and it's a funny one, isn't it? Like a big part of our thing is our community, like getting people in there, sharing these wins, sharing these things. And when do we do that? And when do we share our problems in this world?
Well, I think we have less and less opportunity to do it now, right? And that's why joining the dads group was so big for me. I had all these things that I wanted to say, but there was like no real outlet for it. Like it wasn't the right conversation for my like romantic relationship. Wasn't really the right conversation for my close friends that maybe weren't in my shoes. Like we were the first one to have kids in our family.
Right.
So like it allowed me to express those things, be heard, and actually people go, that's me as well.
Me too.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
What a powerful thing. Changes absolutely nothing, but changes everything at the same time.
100%, man. And that goes, so that it's obviously super important when we're struggling or we have things that are going on that we need, like, how do I deal with a situation with my partner or my kids, whatever that is. But also when in our world now, do we celebrate stuff? I think arguably in the States it's better. It's okay to be like, yeah, I'm a badass, and people are like, yeah, man. But certainly in England, I grew up in California, right? So I'm really happy to be like, I've done a thing. Although finding less and less so I'm finding more and more over these years of like, people don't like that here. And that sucks. You do something good, you should be fucking celebrated, right? And whether that's you've lost some weight, whether that's you've got a new job, or you've bought a house, or you've learned to surf at 30, whatever it is, we should be celebrated.
Yeah.
And we don't. And it's all like silo on our own. Oh, I've done a thing. I'll tell my partner about it and a couple of mates.
And that's the beauty of having a community of people that actually get it, right?
Yeah.
Like they're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Rather than it just being like the whole world around you.
Right.
Where you don't know where they're at. When you're with people that get it, they feed off that. They put back in, and it's...
and then we got to look at like how we do this, because we, as dads, as a man who's about to have a third, it's like how does this affect our children? Because like we're talking now about looking after ourselves, right, and filling our own cup, putting our oxygen mask on first. But ultimately, like, who are we doing that for? Like, why do I continue to work out? Why am I eating healthy? Well, because I want to be here when my kids are 40, 50 years old, right? Do the maths there. I'll be pretty old by then. That's why we're doing it. So like coming back to the whys of like the motivations. It's like, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Why are you choosing to this workout? Why are you choosing to join a program? Why are you choosing to sacrifice some time that, And I don't know if many people have a why anymore. I think in this world, people get lost with their why. Maybe they wanted to be a florist when they were younger, and then suddenly, well, that doesn't pay, so I do this thing, and I'm doing this thing. People get lost.
Yeah, for sure.
And how do I guess what we see is through coming back to we start with the physical movement and the feeling good. Your body shifts, you feel stronger. All kinds of stuff happens. Like we've had guys like just change career after our program because they're like, oh, I've got confidence. That's another byproduct, right?
Yeah.
I can do something. I can learn a new thing at 40, 45 years old.
They've got clarity.
What else can I learn?
If you feel good, then you've got clarity, right? Like your mind's not preoccupied. We speak to guys and they say it's in their mind all the time. Like, I feel like crap. I've got no energy. I don't like myself. Once you've cleared all that baggage, it leaves you to actually like put that focus into things that you actually want to do. Which I think, coming back around to the 3 kids thing, let's get into some practical stuff, right? So if you are in that position where you feel like you don't have time to work on yourself, like eat healthy, work out, like we'll start with those core things. Maybe let's get into some practical of what are the pillars that we think people can implement. So for me, just bringing to the
Mm,
table two from what we've talked about so far that we can go into. First is flexibility or
mm,
adaptability.
mm,
I think the second is communication with
mm-hmm,
the people in your circle.
mm-hmm.
So we can go into those two. What do you want to
I mean,
bring
for
any to
me,
the table?
it's community and support.
Mm-hmm.
So particularly going in as a father, if we're talking specifically whether it's your first, second, third, or fifth kid, having people in your world that you can talk to openly and honestly, someone that's going to hold you accountable,
Mm-hmm.
offer reflections for growth, like not letting you get away with shit.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're drinking a bit too much, maybe you're smoking, maybe you're, I don't know, not doing the thing.
Mm.
Having someone to be like, oh, are you sure?
Yeah. Well,
Right?
let's hit that one first, right? I think
Mm,
community, communication, flexibility,
yeah.
and maybe there's like an ownership
Oh,
piece as
100%.
well, right? So
Right.
if we go into those four, there's probably infinite we can talk about.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's go into the community first.
Yeah.
So community, we often renegotiate with ourselves, right? So we say, I'm going to do that on this day. I'll do that
Yeah.
on Monday. Or I'll do that today. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that next week.
Mm,
And then when the time comes, we renegotiate.
mm,
So I think having the support and the community, it stops you renegotiating because you have to be accountable to someone else.
yeah.
It stops you feeling like you're alone because you
Yeah.
realize other people are going through the same things, even if they're on a sort of different path, like everyone's on their own path.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you that sense of like belonging, which is
Yeah.
you kind of touched on. It's like an innate part of
Yeah. Yeah.
humanity is
Yeah.
to be in a community. And we live in a world where
Mm,
a lot of that kind of primitive community
mm-hmm.
is not around us anymore. Like most people don't even know their neighbors.
Right.
So
Well,
we
that,
have to manufacture that now
yeah.
in our society.
And just specifically about this going into fatherhood, that community piece, it's this idea that I can't remember. I heard this recently on a podcast of like having our layers of support. So typically, a husband and wife partnership, you're each other's like confidants and all the rest of it. When a mother has a baby, for those first certainly 3 months, definitely longer, they can't support my shit.
Hmm.
My wife can't hold my shit. Don't bring it to her. I need this next layer, which might be a friend or even a parent or a brother or sister. But then that person needs someone too. Because if I'm going to you and go, oh my God, Joe, I'm fucking just freaking out by the situation, that happened recently, that you can take that on.
Hmm.
If you don't have someone to go to and go, oh man, I've just got to vent this, and it softens as we go. So yeah, I feel like that layers, and for mum too.
Hmm.
She might be feeling postnatal depression or regret or some dark feeling. She want to tell you that
Hmm.
we should be able to take that. I believe as a man, as an aligned masculine man, we should. And she needs a sister, a mother, an auntie, a female to hold that.
Yeah.
And then that female needs another female or male.
And for me, that was the dad's group, right? Like that brought me that. And, a lot of our clients will bring this stuff to us as well, right?
Yeah.
It can come in many different forms.
Mm.
But
But it's interesting, hey, because clients do speak pretty openly to me and I know to you, but they're not quite as open in the community. That's the learned behavior. It's
mhm,
been subdued for so long in our society that I can tell you because you're my coach and that's cool. But I don't want to put it out there. And I argue maybe that as men, we're like, because then they'll think I'm weak and they'll take my shit.
yeah.
But actually, no, man, I'd
And
love
that's
that.
that's the thing about the dad's group. It was
Mm,
probably the first time in my life that wasn't just like a drunken scenario with mates that I've shared like deep information to like a group of people
yeah,
all in one go
yeah.
versus it being like an intimate one-to-one conversation.
Hmm.
Something very liberating about that.
So, yeah, so I think for the community, I think because we got a few more,
What does it bring?
I mean, it just brings this sense of belonging, sense of like being seen and heard and like validated.
Hmm.
Like I'm worried about this thing. We do that in the groups, don't we? Anyone and then everyone puts their hand up if they agree, and you're like, whoa, that that is so powerful. So just action on that. Speak to us wherever you are in the world. There are men's groups everywhere. There's fathers groups. There's online groups. Just hit us up if this resonates. Like, talk to us,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So the next pillar was communication.
Yeah, I think that links nicely.
Yeah.
So for most of you, that communication will be with your partner, right? And on a very practical level, if you feel like your day is jam packed, right? So many responsibilities, every minute is taken up. If you don't communicate with your partner about your needs and what needs to change and be honest
Yeah.
for fear of like negativity, anger,
Protection. Yeah.
rejection, blah, 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 then it's going to be very, very difficult to create that time. And our most successful clients, without a doubt, are people generally that have their partner like 100% on board with them. They've communicated with their partner and they've said, look, like this is something that's really important to me. If I make this time for myself and we make these changes, I'm going to be able to be better for you. I'm going to be more present. I'm going to be happier. I'm going to have
Mm.
more energy.
Mm.
I'm going to be a better dad if that's relevant, if you
Mm-hmm.
have kids. And that can only be accessed through an honest conversation. You can't,
Right.
in a relationship that's maybe you've got 10 year, a decade of relationship structure, you can't just go and like argy barge and just do the thing
Mm.
within that without creating conflict. Like
Yeah.
it has to be a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought it was important to bring communication to the table.
I agree, man, and everything you said. And again, I just feel because it's relevant as a father and with more children coming, um, speak like that to your kids. If your kids are 2 plus, they can hear you. Daddy's going to the gym this morning. Oh,
Mm,
but I want to play Lego. Okay, well, Daddy's going to be out for this time, and I'll be back at this time, and then we'll play Lego with you.
yeah.
And I started doing that with Avila when she was like 2. And now when I get up, she's like, are you going to CrossFit? I'm not actually. I'm going to the gym. But she learned that I'm going off and do something. And it's cool.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, Daddy, why aren't you playing? She's like, oh, and I've explained.
Yeah.
Because Daddy wants to be strong so I can wrestle with you later.
Yeah. And
Climb the
there's then
tree.
some respect,
And
right?
right. And then if, again, it's, well, what are we passing on to our kids? Like boundaries, discipline, and strength.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, love all that.
And if you'll find that if your partner is resistant to, let's say, what's the conversation, right?
Mm.
Like, I don't feel great right now. Like, I've been struggling with this. I want to start making some time just to do some exercise.
Mm.
And I want to just like change the way that we eat a little bit, right? Let's figure out together like where we can fit that into the day and how we can make this work. I propose X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be so formal, but
Yeah, yeah. That's
bit
the
of structure.
Yeah.
I find it hard to imagine that any partner would have a problem with that.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
Just getting walked in on our podcast. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, and if they do have a problem with
I don't know. That's a different conversation.
that's a big conversation. So I don't want
Well, you got to find out why, right?
Yeah, you got to find out why. And my understanding or my experience of that, and I'm blessed to have a really beautiful relationship where we communicate. But for the men I've worked with in the past, it's because their partner they want that too. But they don't know how to communicate that back.
Yeah.
Because we could go off to Dad's club and we're working on ourselves, how to communicate better. Oh, I've got that out. Maybe my partner isn't.
Mm.
And they're still at home with the baby or with the kids, whatever, not really talking, normal life, and hasn't.
So it's like a
Yeah, a little bit.
bit
Yeah.
of jealousy.
Oh,
a bit
you're
of
looking after
resentment.
yourself. That's because she wants to look after herself.
Yeah.
She hasn't found the ways to do it.
But
And then that's
the funny thing is, a lot of the guys that join the program, like they say that their partners are already doing that thing. A lot of them, not everyone,
Yeah.
but they're already doing that a little bit as well because for whatever reason. So it can go both ways. But yeah, I absolutely agree. That is, if there's an issue, like that is the problem.
Yeah.
Usually 99% of the time.
And if you can't see that that's a problem, back to the drawing board, bro.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a dynamic, and we aren't relationship experts at all, but we've got pretty good relationships, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been with Morgan?
Your 11 years anniversary
11
at the
years
weekend.
last week. Yeah,
I haven't been with Morgan that long, like 6 years.
that's a long time.
Just throwing 3 kids out there as well.
Yeah, you went fast.
Yeah.
But like if you're in a relationship for this period of time and you have you have that situation where someone's bitter and annoyed and angry that I'm not going to the pub to drink beer and chat shit with my mates. I'm going to work out, or I'm spending some time alone because I know, but to recharge, I need to be alone.
Yes. And I think that the reason that guys are hesitant to have that conversation is because in their head, they see it as the same.
Yeah.
The selfish act. I'm going to go to the pub and go out with my mates. Yeah. They're totally different things.
Right.
And at first, there's a chance that they might be viewed as the same thing. Again, that's more about the communication, like
Yeah.
framing, this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
This is important to me.
Yeah.
I'm not happy right now
Yeah.
in this area of my life, and this is what I need to do to change it.
Right.
It's not just going,
Yeah.
I'm going to go get pissed with
See
my
you in a
mates,
bit.
right?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us, we frame it in the same way in our own minds, which
Mm.
makes us not have that conversation in the first place because we think it's selfish.
Mm.
And part of it is for ourselves, right? I think
Yeah.
we have to
Sure.
admit that,
Yeah.
but it's also so we can deliver in the areas of our life that we actually care about.
And I think a question to ask before you, maybe if you're like struggling to think about having this conversation with your partner, is like, how would you feel if your partner came to you and said, he or she came to you and said hey, I'm going to start taking Monday mornings to get to the gym. I'll be an hour and a half. I'm going to need you to support me looking after the kids. How
Yeah,
would we feel?
100. You'd just be like, amazing.
Well, you would,
I
and
would.
I would.
Yeah,
But if there's some doubt in that of like, oh God, me with the kids, okay,
yeah.
there's
And
some
what
work
is
for you
that like
there.
reading into that?
Yeah, that's
I
it's a
think
podcast, right?
just
But
to wrap this section up, I
yeah,
think that the thing that's always worked for me on a practical level is I will always give something in exchange in terms of like time. So, for example, when I went surfing on Sunday, the first one after Portugal, like breaking the seal, I said to Morgan, like, I'm going to take the kids all day on Sunday. Like, you can do your own thing all day, but I would like to go surfing at like 7 in the morning, right? I'll be out for a couple of hours and
yeah,
then
of
I'm going to take the kids all day. So there's like an exchange
course.
as well.
Well, this comes back to our time thing. How are you going to use your time? And if you're taking someone else's time as a parent in a relationship, even if you're not a parent, well, how are you giving them time back?
Mhm.
Right? We've taken time for us, right? So it's time, it's communication. What was our third pillar we had?
So we've got flexibility and ownership.
Flexibility.
So should we
Yeah.
go into those? Yeah, we have
Yeah,
another 5 to 10 minutes.
we got a few minutes, haven't we?
Yeah. So flexibility. Let's finish with
Mm,
ownership because that's obviously
yeah.
without ownership, none of this will happen. So
Nice.
flexibility is really, really straightforward. And to me, biggest thing we see with our clients is that their mindset is still stuck in the same mindset they were when they were 20 years old and they had no partner, they had no kids, the job wasn't that demanding, they could do whatever they
Yeah.
wanted. The problem is that they're thinking it has to be the same in terms of their approach
Right.
now
Yeah.
in order for it to work. So what they need to do is break that idea, reconstruct a system for their life now, and actually break away from that all or nothing thinking,
Yeah.
break away from perfection,
Yep.
and just understand that imperfect action,
Right.
doing something,
Yeah. Yeah.
is going to beat not doing the perfect thing every single time. And again, it's great because we're not talking about specifics. I'm not saying you 10 push-ups is the answer to you for this. Broccoli is the
Yeah. Yeah.
answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is all about actually most of the guys that join our program aren't doing anything at all.
Yeah.
And when they have tried, it's been extreme, it's been
Yeah.
intense, and it's been for a
Sure.
short period of time.
Right.
And they've repeated that loop again
Right.
and again and again. And they're
Dun,
now at a
dun.
place where they're not better. They're potentially even worse than they were
Mm.
when they first started.
Yeah, man. And just to, it's a point we touched on earlier, this flexibility of it's Friday, and you're supposed to be doing that workout, but your daughter has just got back. She maybe had a rough day at school, and she just wants to ride the bike. Can I ride the bike?
Yeah.
That's great. Fuck it. It doesn't matter. Okay. The option B. Oh, your mates want to go to the pub. It's a sunny, and you're going to go sink 5 pints in the pub garden.
Hmm.
Also great if that happens now and again.
Yeah.
But what is our flex? How are we being flexible?
But that,
I must work out right now. That's going to fuck things up for you.
yeah,
Are we swearing? I am swearing on this
we are
podcast.
swearing, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm Yorkshireman. I can't get through this without swearing.
Yeah,
Although
yeah.
I think you've been a bit more
I'm definitely more
brutal than
sweary.
me.
It's California.
But yeah, coming
Yeah,
back into that, I think that gives it a great option to get into the practicalities of flexibility, which is, oh, cool, like it's a sunny day. My mates are going to go hang out for a bit at the park. My daughter's going to come on a bike. Like, let's
great.
jam it all together.
Yeah,
What about whether we go, okay, cool, my intention was to work out now. There's not another opportunity. Maybe doing the 30 minutes is going to jeopardize those other things, but I can actually have my cake and eat it and just go, let's do 10 minutes, let's do 15 minutes, grab a shower, which I was going to do anyway because I'm going to go out. Cool, right?
mm.
Doesn't matter.
Mm.
The 30-minute workout that we assigned you isn't perfect in of itself. So if we assign perfection as a
Yeah,
label to that,
yeah,
moving away from it doesn't matter because it was never perfect in the first place. If we suddenly changed your workouts the following week to 60-minute workouts, does that 30-minute workout then become imperfect, right?
Mm.
So getting out of that idea of it being like all or nothing and just going, what is a positive action that I can take
Right.
today?
Right.
If you're a professional bodybuilder or like an Olympic athlete, the
Yeah.
system needs to be
Yeah.
adhered to, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you are looking, everyone is at 99% and
Yeah.
they're looking for the 0.01% edge,
Yeah.
right? For the everyday person, we're just looking
Yeah.
to feel fitter, stronger, have more energy, have more
Yeah.
confidence,
Yeah.
right? And those things will mainly come through consistency. That is more than 50% of the puzzle. And that is why flexibility is key because it will keep consistency alive. Like whatever the hell you're doing within that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be time, it could be location, it could be equipment, it could be actually the intricacies of how you approach the workout or the whatever practice you're doing. Because this doesn't just apply to workouts, right? It can apply to
Right.
the way you eat,
Yeah.
meditation, journaling,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
mobility, like
Time with your
whatever.
partner,
Time with your
with your
partner.
kids. Yeah, man. I mean, I think you've nailed it there. And I think, it transitions nicely to ownership, which is obviously the big piece here. We've touched on this throughout the podcast actually,
Mm,
but I have to own my ship. So how am I showing up today? I could come into this podcast. Oh, podcast. I wish I knew something else. Oh, God. Or I could be like, great. I get to hang out with my mate and talk some interesting stuff for an hour. This is awesome. And that's how it feels.
mm,
We approach that with our workout program. Fuck, I would do pike push-ups. I really don't like those. Oh, they're going to be hard. And I get that sometimes. Some mornings I'm like, I'm starting on a pike push-up and I'll do like 6. Whereas if I'm like, awesome, I'm going to move my body today, and suddenly I'm doing 15 of them. Not the reps matter, but the idea that I'm just moving because it
mm,
feels good, because I'm owning how I'm feeling. And that comes back to flexibility. If I wake up and I know I've been up twice to the babies in the night, I've had like 4 hours sleep, is waking up at 5, running down to the gym and doing my 30-minute workout the best use of my time?
no.
No, I might stay in bed for an hour extra today and I might do a 20-minute workout at lunch.
Yeah.
Own my shit, be flexible.
Yeah, 100%,
you
man.
know?
And I would even like take a step back from that with ownership, which is again something we've touched on, and I thought that's what you're referring to.
Oh, yeah.
But blame until you
Mm,
learn to take ownership of your scenario and stop blaming, oh, I'm busy with work, because I have to pick the kids up, because my wife's got this on, because Trump's coming to power, because
mhm,
like it's raining.
mm,
Until we stop blaming those external circumstances, like nothing will change long term, and you'll always be relying on pure willpower, which
mhm.
willpower fades, right? Anyone that's been fit for a long time, like for decades, effortlessly, they've got pretty minimal willpower for that thing, right? It's just baked into their life. And
Right.
that was originally through going, I am responsible for this change in my life. And
Mhm.
like, I am the one that has to take the action. Like, nobody's going to do it for me. And that's the honest truth about joining, say, Vibrant People or anything, is that the
Yeah.
one thing that someone can't do is actually like do it
Yeah.
for you. They can give you the systems, they
Mm,
can give you the accountability, they can give you the support.
mm,
But unless you own it
mm,
and stop relying on other people and external circumstances or whatever else to,
mhm,
now is the right time, or like, or I'll wait for a better time or a perfect time that never comes,
mm.
then like nothing's going to change.
You know what, man? It's also, I think it's important to throw this, and I was feeling it earlier about this ownership piece and flexibility. Sometimes it's okay to not want to do stuff. Sometimes just being quiet,
Yeah.
and still you don't have to be being the 5 a.m. grind guy, all those bloody 4 a.m. clubs. Great. Sometimes
That's ownership as well.
that's ownership too. And going, I am owning that I'm feeling kind of lazy right now and I want to sleep in a bit, just go for a walk and read my book.
Hmm.
Cool. Beautiful. If you own it
Yeah.
and you don't spiral into the woe is me, I can't do anything. If you're like, I'm feeling a bit low. We were touching the other day, like, I'm feeling a bit low today.
Mm.
I'm feeling a bit, this week's feeling a bit blue. All
Yeah.
right, man. Cool. What do you
Yeah.
need to do to like own it? Right?
And
So
that
it's
could
high and
be,
low.
it
Own
can be
our,
with food as well, right? Like
yeah.
one of the things that I always say is like, I don't follow a diet. Like I eat anything I want,
Yeah.
but I just choose not to. If you eat that donut
Yeah.
and you own it, and it's
Yeah.
like, I am choosing to eat that donut despite the consequences, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But don't go complaining when you
Why
haven't
am I?
lost any
Yeah,
weight if
yeah.
that's your goal,
The
right?
program doesn't
It's
work.
your fault.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, it's a result. You are a result of your actions and your habits, right? You are just the end output of that.
There you go.
So if you can take ownership of that, it's it's not a difficult or an annoying thing. Like, it's liberating
Yeah,
because
man.
it's like, wow, I can go anywhere I want if I just consistently take the right actions.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing.
I love it, man. I mean, I think we should probably wrap it up here. Been
Yeah.
chatting for a while now. Um,
Great first poddy.
yeah, beautiful, man. I could talk for hours. Definitely, like, feel like we need to, or do we need to even structure? Oh, that was cool.
I don't know. We'll wait for some
We
feedback.
might have to lock the door though, because that sucked.
Or
Yeah,
book longer than half an hour in the meeting room.
yeah. Oh, is that what we did?
Yeah.
Ownership.
Yeah. Ownership, trying to save £8 on a
Yeah.
meeting room.
Shit. All right, man. Well, beautiful to chat.
Good stuff,
See
man.
you next time, everyone.